Bikini Bottom is full of ridiculous things. That pie, for example, is ridiculously powerful for a dessert. And it got me thinking, if something this dangerous can be passed around as a snack, what is the most powerful object in the entire SpongeBob SquarePants universe? I know, it sounds like a silly question, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized some of these funny objects could literally break the world if they ended up in the wrong hands. From weird household gadgets to reality-bending magic, we're gonna find out which one sits at the very top. And fair warning, the answer might not be what you think. It will blow your mind. For starters, we have some objects that actually look harmless, until you misuse them. Stuff you could buy at a garage sale, that might also collapse the ocean if you're not careful. Our first object comes from SpongeBob's very first episode, the reef blower. It's pretty much a standard gardening tool. SpongeBob has one in his garage all the time. It's good for blowing sand and reef in your garden. But what we tend to forget is how powerful this blower is when you crank the power to max. It's powerful enough to fly, to vacuum, and launch Squidward's house ornament, even enough to suck the entire ocean's water into it. It's basically a portable black hole. And the only thing stopping it from causing more damage is SpongeBob's attention span, which is not comforting. The same thing could be said about the bubble soap, too. I know, bubbles. Doesn't sound threatening. But this is SpongeBob's bubble soap we're talking about. You could create so many things if you mastered the proper technique.
And this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and that.
You could send a voice note with this bubble, make fully functioning bubble replicas of animals, vehicles, or simply make a big one that is strong enough to lift a house. And if you master it enough, you could make a living being from this soap, like Bubble Buddy. In the later episode of Bubble Town, it's proven that you could certainly make a whole town and civilization from this bubble soap. So yeah, it is that powerful. But there's only one major drawback for this item. Yeah, you guessed it. All it takes is one pointy thing and it gets popped. Still, considering it's free to sell everywhere, I'm starting to think Bikini Bottom needs stricter bubble control laws. Take notes from Kelp City, guys. Those guys know what they're doing. And the last object before we get into the heavy arms is the magic conch shell from Club SpongeBob. The one that looks like a cheap plastic toy you'd find in a cereal box. You pull the string, it gives you a yes or no answer, and that's it. Except, the shell is never wrong. In Club SpongeBob, the three of them are lost in the middle of nowhere and the shell tells them to survive on nothing. Well, the shell also rewards with food falling from the sky for those who obey. Now, is it magical? Or is it just statistically lucky? And every time someone disobeys the conch, bad things happen. Squidward doesn't get a thing for not believing. And the rescuer also said he was told to save them by the shell. So yeah, I'm leaning towards magic. But it's a weird kind of magic. It can't directly hurt you, but it can politely starve you until you obey. It's like a passive-aggressive cult leader in toy form. And yeah, that's pretty much the weak tier. A toy shell, some soap, and a leaf blower. And all three are already strong enough to ruin your week. Which makes me very worried about the actual weapons in this universe, the ones clearly built for dealing damage. The mid-tier is pretty much an advanced technology that somehow doesn't destroy Bikini Bottom, mostly because the people using them have no idea what they're doing. The earliest example of this category is Mermaid Man's utility belt from Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4. This belt is clearly superhero tech. Shrink ray, growth ray, and whatever this is. And probably another dozen rays we don't know about. That belt has so many buttons in it. In the episode, SpongeBob accidentally shrinks the entire town and forces them to live like collectible figurines. That's pretty much it. Now, imagine this in the hands of someone competent. You'll pretty much win any fight with this belt, if you could remember all the features. Mermaid Man has so many cutting-edge superhero tools. Confusion Orb, Invisiboatmobile, but clearly nothing as powerful as the belt. But speaking about high-tech weapons, the same thing could be said for pretty much every Plankton invention. I initially wanted to pick one to be his strongest weapon in the show, just like Mermaid Man, but there's just so many good choices. He made mind control shampoo and bucket helmet from the movies, goo goo gas that turns people into babies, many types of robots, a laser cannon, and many more weapons. Even aside from weapons, Plankton has made some real cutting-edge technologies throughout the show. A molecular analyzer, a ghost extraction machine, and let's not forget the famous...
Why don't you just use them switch lights just to know what it's like on my iron thing you built last Tuesday.
But still, all he wants is the secret recipe for the Krabby Patty. If anyone else had Plankton's genius, Bikini Bottom would be a dystopian wasteland right now. Oh wait, he did do that once actually.
Approved and sponsored by Sheldon Plankton Enterprises, a division of No Fun Incorporated.
Still, Plankton doesn't win in the end. The man's a genius inventor, and also the reason his own plans fail 90% of the time. So yeah, Plankton's brain is a powerful object, or organ. Just like the time machine from SB-129, that thing was mighty powerful. Squidward uses it to jump thousands of years into the past and the future, and then into whatever that white void dimension was. We never get an explanation on how that machine works because Squidward clearly is not using it properly, or maybe the machine is just flawed, who knows. Hey, maybe Plankton could figure out something about that machine. Still shocked that that whole thing is just sitting in the Krusty Krab's basement, as if it's just a company asset. Damn, this mid-tier category was packed with cutting-edge technology, huh? It's a statement that science is a powerful thing at the bottom of the ocean floor. Well, not as powerful as some of these magical things, however. Now, before we get to the god-tier artifacts, we have to acknowledge a few questionable contenders, and some tricky ones. I'll explain later. Let's just say this is an honorable mentions tier. First, we have the bomb pie from Dying for Pie. This one's pretty straightforward. A pie filled with explosives, and sold casually by pirates like it's a cinnamon roll. For a bomb the size of a cake, its explosion power is no joke. We never know where or how these pies are made, but whatever the answer is, I don't want to be around when the whole sack gets dropped down. Just like I don't want to be around when there's Patrick's song in the air. Oh yeah, this one's golden. Patrick writes a song one time, and it was so bad, it causes mass panic in Bikini Bottom. We're talking buildings on fire, people screaming in the streets, chaos everywhere, and it's not even a magic song. It's just that awful. It's also one of the rare times where there's a death included in the episode. The 4 members of the band that did the recording didn't make it through. Honestly, that song would be banned under the Geneva Convention. And the last honorable mention for this powerful object is the Krabby Patty secret recipe. Okay, I know, this one's kind of weird, but it's technically one of the most valuable things of Bikini Bottom. Whoever owns it controls the entire fast food market, and the people too. One of the reasons Krabs gets a slide for so many of his crimes is because people tend to forgive him as long as they could get their patties. Huh, no wonder Plankton wants it so bad. Alright, comedy break's over. We're going to talk about objects that don't just cause trouble, they rewrite the laws of the entire universe. For starters, we have the ocean's equivalent of the Infinity Gauntlet, Neptune's Trident. First appeared in the Neptune Spatula in Season 1. It can fire energy blasts, transform objects or people instantly, giving life to objects, and even teleport. This trident is pretty much a supernatural tool. At first, I thought this trident is the equivalent to a wand for a sorcerer, just a tool for channeling magic for its user, because Neptune could do magic stuff with his bare hands.
I shall restore him.
But later in Trident Trouble, in Season 10, SpongeBob could use the magic without any trouble, giving life to patties and turning the whole town upside down. So it's clear that this trident has magic on its own.
You have been one naughty trident.
It's a good thing that this trident is only used for the royal families and alike. No one in Bikini Bottom is wise enough to hold it. Just like the wishing well from Wishing You Well. This one's terrifying to say the least. As the name suggests, it literally grants any wish made to it. Though the origin of this well is somewhat accidental. In the episode, Krabs got an idea of making his own wishing well, since he sees a lot of people toss a coin to say a simple prayer. So he made his own at the back of Krusty Krab's for extra coins. And after some claustrophobic shenanigans, SpongeBob discovered the real magic power beneath the well.
Look, Patrick! We've struck magic!
You don't even need to toss in a coin. Just say what you want, and the well delivers. In the episode, most of the wishes are pretty harmless. like Sandy asking for a giant telescope, Plankton becomes big, and Squidward's wish to go far away.
I wish for is to be far away from here.
The well clearly has no problem taking things very literally. And I don't think the well has any real limits. You could just keep wishing over and over, and maybe don't forget to toss in a coin sometimes. The only reason it's not number one is because it's stuck in one location, and the be careful what you wish for drawback makes it unpredictable. Still, it's a terrifying amount of power to have sitting behind a fast food restaurant. But if we're talking about collateral damage, look no further than the thread that pulls everything from the strings in Season 11. The episode is kinda fever dream, to be honest. SpongeBob notices a loose thread on Squidward's shirt and pulls it. In any normal world, that's where the story ends. But here, that string is somehow connected to everything. He keeps pulling it, and it starts to undo many things one by one. Other people's clothes, the numbers in Krab's money, random taxis, and even buildings too. Like physically pulling apart the world's fabric. There's no explanation for what this string is, why it exists, or whether it can be stitched back. SpongeBob just keeps going until he literally unravels the fourth wall itself. The string only causes destruction, which makes me relieved that it only appeared in one episode, or maybe one title zone, who knows. And that brings us here. The number one spot for the strongest object in the SpongeBob universe. Because if the tridents and the string could destroy reality, this object can rebuild it from scratch. When it comes to the most almighty object in SpongeBob, nothing, and I mean nothing, comes close to the magic pencil. Yep, you probably saw this one coming from miles away. It first appears in Frankendoodle, when a giant pencil drops from the surface into Bikini Bottom, and anything you draw with it comes to life.
SpongeBob, your drawing's coming to life!
That means as long as you can imagine it, you can make it real. What makes this so powerful is that this pencil wasn't tied to a chosen user. Doodlebob, a drawing SpongeBob made with the pencil, could grab it and start drawing for himself. That's the scary part. This thing can create life capable of using it again. It's a chain reaction waiting to happen. And unlike the wishing well, it doesn't just grant what you ask for. It lets you decide the details, as long as you dictate it while you draw. The pencil also comes with an eraser at the back, meaning you could erase everything simply by rubbing it. Create or destroy, it's up to you. Years later in Doodle Dimension, we learned the pencil could create a bridge to another dimension. SpongeBob and Patrick enter a sketch world where doodles live. And who's in charge there? Doodlebob. He remembers everything from Frankendoodle, meaning everything erased doesn't just vanish, they get sent to the sketch world. Either way, Magic Pencil is the perfect tool of creation in Bikini Bottom, and it's lying somewhere just waiting for someone to pick it up again. Without a doubt, Magic Pencil is the strongest object that ever graced Bikini Bottom. You know, after going through all this, I don't think the real danger in Bikini Bottom comes from the Magic Pencil, or Neptune's trident, or even Plankton's arsenal of failed doomsday devices. It's the fact that nobody in this universe treats these things seriously. They just leave world-ending weapons laying around like old junk mail. And maybe that's why the show is so chaotic by nature. Every wild episode, every random disaster could just be fallout from some ridiculously overpowered object being used off-screen. Or worse, forgotten. But hey, maybe we've already seen what happens when one of these objects really gets out of control. An episode where everyone disappears and Bikini Bottom itself becomes a ghost town. You know exactly which one I'm talking about, and if you haven't, well, let's just say it's one of the strangest episodes Nickelodeon has ever aired. That's a mystery worth its own investigation, which is exactly what we did in our deep dive on the unsolved SpongeBob episode you've probably seen before. I'll see you there.